creepy and elusive ghost shark, a possible proof of the existence of mermaids, and an encounter with a huge dragon. Sounds incredible, doesn't it? Luckily, the camera was there at just the right moment, and now we can all get a glimpse of these mystical creatures that turned out to be not so mystical. Let's take a look. In forests, especially in countries with hot climates, you can find all sorts of dangerous animals. All of them are unique in their own way, and fortunately, almost always people realize what animal is standing in front of them. But in this story, everything turned out to be not so simple at all. Walking through a forest in Australia, researchers noticed a giant furry creature that at first glance reminded them of some kind of giant ape. However, this creature didn't exactly look like any kind of primate. It was much more agile, intelligent, and fast. When it spotted the humans, it ran toward them, and only a nearby car kept the humans alive. They jumped into it and managed to escape. After a while, the scientists returned to the same spot, eager to encounter the monster again. They armed themselves with tranquilizers and other necessary things, but they failed to find the giant. Even the tracks that could lead them to a clue suddenly disappeared in one place. It was as if the creature had deliberately covered them. What do you think it should be? A mutated primate or someone that science is not yet aware of? Share your thoughts in the comments. Ghost shark. You all know of a world called chimera. In relation to creatures, it means they have characteristics of several different creatures at the same time. There's a bunch of chimeras in history, but right now we're interested in one particular chimera caught on camera in 2016. I'm talking about the ghost shark, a fish that can't be confused with any other. Although sharks are very similar to each other, the ghost shark stands out. And it stands out much. Let's start with the time it's been swimming in the ocean at all. Analyses have shown that the creature originated long before some dinosaurs, over 300 million years ago. Its skin had a pale color, and its fins looked like wings. The body length was 5 feet. It's not yet known whether this is a standard size or vice versa. It's something too big or small. Such monsters live at depths of 2 miles from the surface of the water, so you can't encounter them by chance without special equipment, unfortunately. But why did I say unfortunately? After all, these sharks are quite aggressive, constantly poking at cameras, trying to do something to be noticed so people pay attention to them. Probably, as scientists believe, it's their unusual hunting tactics. They provoke their target and force the target to follow them straight into the traps they've already set. But in general, even if no one falls for their tricks, these sharks can easily catch up with anyone they want. Their speed and eyesight are great. Speaking of eyesight, it may seem that these sharks do not have eyes at all, but it's not the case. They're large and deep-set. Along with them on the snout of the ghost shark, there are a number of receptors which also help its owner to search for food. Horseman's Ghost. Berkeley is a medieval castle built in 1067. Today, it's partially destroyed and no one is working on restoration, which makes this place very popular with bloggers or ordinary guys who like thrill. One of these adventurers was 41-year-old Thomas Arnold, who didn't plan to spend the night in the castle, but just wanted to fly around it using his drone. It's officially illegal to do such a thing, but that's not the point right now. While filming, the man noticed a strange silhouette on the video by accident. At first, he thought that he just saw something that wasn't there, but when he got home and reviewed the footage, he realized that it was not a simple hallucination. Thomas actually found a ghost resembling a horseman who ran through the building. The man, as he later revealed in an interview, had believed in the paranormal before this incident, but this incident cemented his position forever. Curiously, the footage was repeatedly checked by the most experienced specialists, and none of them found editing on it. I think we can believe this video. Bigfoot. One summer day, a group of friends decided to go on an exciting river trip. Jane, Mike, and Sarah had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Each of them was eager to test their new kayak, and now the moment had come. They traveled down almost the entire river in their beautiful and amazing area, encountering many new animals, birds, and even fish. But there was something in this story that did not give them any peace at all. During one of their stops, the people spotted a strange creature somewhere in the distance. It looked like a human, but it was twice or even 3 times the size of a human. The creature was all covered with wool, and it moved from one side to the other and did not pay attention to people. The guys assumed that it was a Bigfoot. The footage clearly shows the Bigfoot carrying another, smaller creature in his hands. The monster was probably returning from a hunt and heading towards his lair. When this video was posted on the internet, scientists immediately called the group of friends and asked them to bring them to the location. The scientists explored the forest for over a month but never found anything. It's likely that this monster noticed the intruders, but just didn't show himself, and not wanting to be seen, the Bigfoot skillfully covered his tracks and moved to a more secretive place. A creature with a fishtail. The following story was leaked to the internet quite by accident. Initially, this data was not supposed to be published at all. It was early morning. The man behind the camera was walking along the forest, and that very day he decided to go even further, right up to the neighboring riverbank. Hearing the sound of cars, he was curious as to what was going on there. Usually this area is empty. Only the man himself drives there as he lives there, as well as two of his neighbors, but that day they had the company of scientists. It turns out that they had fished out a strange and mysterious creature resembling a mermaid. Its tail was clearly visible. It glistened, shimmered, and had quite large size. The man was right not to go to find out the details from the scientists. The data from his smartphone could simply be withdrawn. As soon as the video was posted on the internet, it was given strikes many times. They tried to block and remove it from public access. It was hardly the work of common haters, right? Probably someone from authorities was behind it. But why are scientists hiding the discovery of such an unusual creature from the public? Would it really scare the people? Or is there something we don't know? One day, a mom decided to capture her child playing on the kitchen floor on camera. She just wanted to preserve the memory of his carefree childhood moments. The shooting was successful. Everyone liked everything. Everything except for one moment that happened to them at the end of the recording. Behind the little boy, as if out of nowhere, a tiny elf flashed by. His mother immediately rushed to look for it under the furniture towards which it was running, but this didn't lead to anything. Do you think this is an editing or a real footage featuring an elf? What does it look more like? Dragons. Many people consciously avoid stories about dragons, considering them primitive and uninteresting. By the way, do you know where the legends about these fire-breathing creatures came from? Of course, no one will tell you the exact date and place. However, it's confirmed that they were heard about as far back as the ancient Greeks and Sumerians. The ancient writings spoke of these creatures as those which, in addition to their ability to fly and breathe fire, can also take the form of huge snakes, ready to crush everyone with their claws. But it was not only in the writings that this centuries-old belief in dragons was built. There was also plenty of evidence in history, including the remains of dragons. And here, for example, is one of the clips of people encountering a dragon in a modern city. And here it's important to understand that dragons are mystical creatures, but still those which really could or can exist. They don't necessarily have to have wings or breathe fire. Some may only be a couple of feet long, live in the ocean, or not be able to fly at all. Do you believe in dragons? Which of these creatures scared you the most? Let me know in the comments. Next, I'll tell you about rare fish that are born once in 1,000 years. What's that? We begin with one rather unusual and at the same time controversial picture, which my subscriber shared with me. According to him, this fish is real, and he caught it personally. The creature of the river was caught with classic bait and from the first seconds struck everyone who was on the boat. The fishermen unanimously declared that such a creature is born once in 1,000 years. The fish had 2 eyes, both of which were in the middle of the body, and identical tails on either side. This fish may not be real. It may seem that it's a fake and the picture is photoshopped. What if it isn't? After all, there are mutants on the planet, right? Maybe this fish has undergone some kind of genetic modification too. Write in the comments. What do you think about it? Pigeonfish. Speaking of mutants, our next rare guest was caught in China. People were shocked when they saw this pigeonfish in front of them, and the body of the creature didn't change in any way. It was a usual carp, but the head, you can see everything. It's assumed that most likely it was a grass carp from the carp family, which had a mutation. Some of the viewers didn't want to believe it and said the whole thing was edited. Others, as usual, believed in something mystical and alien and considered the fish a harbinger of the apocalypse. For me, the last version is some kind of nonsense. I don't believe in the editing either, but the mutation could very well have been, especially if you consider the fact that in the area of the city where the fish was caught, the water's been heavily polluted for the past few years. Alien. The next unusual fish case took place in Norway. A man was hunting for halibut, roughly understanding its size and habits. At some point, someone bit at the bait. It looked like a halibut was about to come out of the water. Even outwardly, looking at the prey across the water, that's what the guy thought. His instincts were wrong. There was a fish on the hook, but not a halibut as he had hoped, but some frightening creature with huge eyes, more like an alien. As the author of the picture said, he'd never seen anything like that, not even on the internet. Just look at those bottomless eyes. How could they ever grow so big? Internet users reacted to the post of the Norwegian quite quickly. They stated that he probably caught a rabbitfish, a creature that's absolutely harmless to humans. The only thing is that this creature lives at depths up to 4,500 feet, which makes it rather strange that the guy pulled it out near the surface. By the way, the fisherman who caught this monster dared to bring it home and fry it. And what would you have done if you were him? Would you have let the mutant go, or would you have risked tasting the exotic sea creature? Write in the comments. A monster with retractable jaws. Everything is comparative. There's a reason people hold that opinion. Before watching this video, I thought the previous monster with the big eyes was the pinnacle of horror and fear. But as soon as I saw what the fisherman caught off the coast of Taiwan, I immediately took my words back. Checking the nets after a long trip, they found these two creatures there as if they'd come to reality from a horror movie. These creatures had a glossy black hue that glistened in the sun, but their main distinguishing feature, of course, was their retractable jaws and 2 rows of sharp teeth. It's even frightening to imagine what they can do with them. Let's think of piranhas, which can devour a large meat carcass in a matter of minutes. It seems to me that these creatures would not be much inferior to them. The fishermen took the monsters to the scientific center, where the scientists said they had come across rare snake sharks. These creatures are still very poorly studied, so it's not yet possible to say anything reasonable about them or to explain this or that feature. An unusual catch. A married couple from the United States went on a boat trip on the sea, where they planned to go fishing. Process was fairly relaxed and pleasant. People were chatting and having a great time when suddenly their day promised to get even more interesting. Someone bit at the bait. The man immediately grabbed the line before it dropped overboard and started pulling the fish out of the water. Judging by the size of the fish, which fell through the rod, the catch was quite large, which meant that the people could dine on fresh wild fish afterwards. But then their plans fell apart in an instant as they caught a mutated fish. It turned out that a trout with 2 mouths was before them. According to the scientists, who were quickly given the footage of the find, the fish could have mutated due to pollution of the surrounding water or an injury received earlier because of another fisherman. As the couple said, despite the strangeness, the fish behaved actively and seemed perfectly healthy. As you understand, no one kept it for themselves. A couple of pictures were taken with the trout and the fish was released back into the wild. Curiously enough, people have been finding more and more mutants lately, and this fact can't help but be alarming. The world ocean is constantly polluted by waste, which provokes the mutations of even the strongest creatures. For example, sharks, which are the real menace of the seas and oceans, are exposed to unusual inbreeding. Here's a shark with 2 heads, which, far from certain, would have survived in its natural environment. Spanish scientists discerned the unusual embryo while still in the egg. They carefully extracted it into the light and studied it properly. This creature was placed in a laboratory and grown artificially. Some people believe that the reason these creatures are born is not because of water pollution, but because of overfishing, which negatively affects the genetic stock. As the gene bank is reducing, the chance of inbreeding is increasing. Once upon a time in Japan. Not far from Fukushima, a fisherman caught a fish of gigantic size, in the bottomless mouth of which even he himself could fit, as it looks like. From the look on the guy's face, he could hardly manage to hold it in his hands. What do you think he caught? Could it be a mutated eel or a common male sea wolf? It turned out to be exactly the second opinion. Usually this fish grows no more than 3 feet or so in length, but the individual found by the Japanese reaches a length of almost 6.5 feet. It's not hard to guess that all this became real because of the mutation that's still occurring due to the events of 2011, when the coastal waters of Japan were contaminated after the Fukushima nuclear disaster. Many scientists and ordinary internet users agree with this opinion. An alien spider. But the waters of our planet are rich, not only with strange fish. Sometimes during fishing you can catch some kind of alien creature similar to a spider, which has about 20 tentacles. It was found by a 40-year-old man fishing off the coast of the Thai province of Krabi. He was examining the catch of the day and accidentally noticed this monster somewhere among the other fish. The fisherman quickly tossed it aside and was already thinking of ways to get rid of it, but his curiosity won over his aggression. The man took a couple of pictures, poked the spider with a stick, and made sure that it was not just another twig but a real sea monster, and gently set it free. Imagine how frightened this man might have been if, as he was putting it back into the water, the spider had jumped onto his face, or at least on his arm. Shark with a human face. I don't know what's better, to encounter a spider that's ready to take over your boat or a shark with a human face, which seems to look right into your soul. Off the coast of Indonesia, a man was able to catch an adult shark, which was just an amazing catch. Rejoicing, the man began to carve it and found 3 pups inside. 2 of them were exactly like their mother, but the third was a little different, to put it mildly. It had a human face, big eyes, and an equally big mouth. Fisherman thought he was being punished for killing a living creature, even a fish. He began to believe he was imagining things, and in a burst of happiness, the fisherman felt incredibly bad. But it was not his sick fantasy. The fish was more than real. The man dared to keep the baby shark and even brought it home. Next, I'll show you the most dangerous insects of our planet. Ants versus bees. A colony of weaver ants, or green ants as they're called, attacked a settlement of bees. It's not known under what circumstances the scuffle took place and what the insects didn't share, but the ants managed to pull off several individuals of rivals and finish them off, having previously taken them hostage. In general, this unusual species of ants is found in tropical forests located in Southeast Asia, Australia, as well as Africa. They're nicknamed weaver ants because of the sewing skills of the insect larvae, which nature has given them developed spider glands. They sew their own nests from the leaves of trees. Outwardly, weaver ants resemble small wasps or bugs. Their bodies covered with golden silver-colored pubescence. It's possible that the colony attacked the bees only to eat, which it did successfully, because the work of these insects is coordinated. Ants, bees, and wasps are all powerful insects, but what about spiders? Many people still think of spiders as insects, even though they actually belong to the arachnid class of the arthropod phylum. Nevertheless, spiders are similar to insects in some ways, so why not take a look at their battles as well? Stay tuned to see a tarantula attack a possum, a bird-eating spider in action, and the fight of one spider with an army of dangerous ants. A tarantula attacked a possum. In the forest of the Amazon, zoologists from the University of Michigan managed to film a tarantula attacking a young possum and dragging it down its hole to eat it. The unusual episode even made it into an article in a popular wildlife magazine. Scientists were able to film spiders and millipedes eating tadpoles, frogs, and lizards, but the real star was the large tarantula of the genus Pamphobetus, which killed a baby possum and dragged the body into its lair. Bird-eating spiders. The well-known bird-eating spiders are some of the most nimble predators of tropical regions. Bird-eating spiders like to weave webs, but they don't build nets to catch insects. Young individuals often feed on flies, beetle larvae, and earthworms. Adult bird-eating spiders prefer larger prey. They hunt insects and small vertebrates. Cockroaches and crickets are preferred for them. Though less often, but all the same, they also hunt lizards, snakes, and frogs. They catch rodents if they're very hungry, and there are no other options of dinner nearby. Despite its name, the bird-eating spider very rarely eats birds. But at the same time, bird-eating spiders can destroy birds' nests to feast on eggs or chicks. Though this happens not often and is rather an exception to the rule, hundreds of different species and genera of bird-eating spiders in most tropical, subtropical, and arid regions of the world differ in color and behavior in accordance with their specific conditions of existence. Although insects are their main prey, they're also able to hunt small birds. The footage shows a huge arthropod eating prey about twice its size. The cameraman who captured the amazing footage suggested he captured a Goliath bird eater, one of the largest spiders in the world. But some researchers have disputed this, arguing that the spider is a different species. Spider versus ant colony. What happens if a spider falls into a colony of swarming ants? Who would win in such an unequal battle? You can find out the answers to these questions by watching the following video. So we have a test tube with ants and a spider the size of a hand. Its body length is about 4.7 to 5.9 inches. Without further ado, we drop the giant arthropod into the container and watch what'll happen. At first, the spider steps over the tube, trying to find a way to escape, but unfortunately for it, no such thing is found. The ants realize that an unwanted guest has come to them and begin to pursue it, trying to grab its legs. The spider, with its strength, manages to escape the grasp of its smaller opponent several times. After a while, more and more ants pull up to the scene and begin spraying their formic acid, blinding and paralyzing the huge enemy. Finally, the spider surrenders and sees no point in resisting anymore, since there are too many enemies. In the end, the ants win a victory because of their numerical superiority and combined efforts. Maybe there's even some philosophical meaning in this. That's all, guys. Write about your favorite insects in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you later.